Am I the a-hole for telling my late dads-in-laws that their granddaughter is not my responsibility? I'm 19 male and my younger sister Kala 15 female lives with me. Our dad and his wife died 3 months ago. Mine and Kala's mom died when we were younger. Dad and his wife had been married for 4 years. His wife had a 5-year-old daughter Lacey. When CPS became involved because both were left orphans, I stepped up to take my sister. I was already working full-time since I skipped college and I just about had what I needed to take care of my sister. They asked me about Lacey and I told them I just wanted to take my sister. Lacey was placed with her grandparents, my dads-in-laws. They became aware of the fact Kala came to live with me and that I had been offered the chance to take their granddaughter and refused. Once they learned this, they asked me why, and then pestered me about it for weeks. Finally, they told me they were older and she could use as much family as possible and that she misses Kala, she wouldn't really remember me. I asked Kala if she wanted to see her and she said not really. So, I told them we were not interested in staying in their granddaughter's life. They told me she's our little sister, that my dad would have wanted us to stick together. I told them I didn't care what my dad wanted. They said not to punish a child for the sins of my parent. I blocked them and continued on with things until they sought me out on social media via one of their older grandkids and told me that I should be ashamed of myself and their granddaughter deserves to be with her siblings and be raised by me since I'm young, fit and healthy and could run around after her like they can't, and will be around a lot longer than them. I replied once that their granddaughter is not my responsibility and that I wanted them to leave me and my sister alone, because we have no reason to be in touch ever again. That wasn't the end and they called me selfish and cruel a few times via another account. So I had to set my account to private to stop them. Am I the a-hole here? OP has offered the following explanation for why they think they might be the a-hole. Making clear that Lacey was my dad's stepdaughter, not his daughter. I took my sister in and not my dad's stepdaughter when my dad and his wife died. When my dads-in-laws who took his stepdaughter after he and his wife died reached out to me a few times to get me and my sister in her life again and to have me raise her with my sister, I said no, and the last time I told them she was not my responsibility. The reason I ask the questions is I know from my sister that Lacey, dad's stepdaughter, was really fond of her, called her sister, loved her even though it was one-sided and I can imagine that this has been extra tough on her because she lost. So, I might be an asshole for saying what I did to her grandparents and being so dismissive of what they were asking. Comments and replies from the users of the feed. James replies, I don't think so emo. Op is 19, already taking on a 15-year-old so that's 2 teenagers together. They've mentioned they have little connection with Lacey. Also, there seems to be not only the grandparents but also the other grandchildren messaging, so it sounds like there are other responsible adults in the picture for Lacey, who need to step up and help with this kid's care. Patagirl replies, your father's stepdaughter is not your responsibility. That you mention other people from her family have messaged you says there are other adults in her family who could look after her, they just don't want to, they would rather you do it. You are 19 years old and already carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders. You can hold your head high. NTA. Curious Palpitation replies, I've not seen any mention yet of the grief of losing your last parent, it's not just an extra mouth to feed. Surely you're grieving too, they are her blood relatives, you're taking on enough responsibility at a tough time as it is. I would have figured after losing their daughter they would like to keep their granddaughter close, not leave her with people she barely has a relationship with. NTA. Dear Op replies, NTA and you are doing good. You took your sister and included her in the decision regarding your stepsister. From how it sounds there's other members of her family that are also young who should take her if they truly believe what they're saying. Keep records of the harassment and avoid them as much as possible. No matter what they say, you are doing the right thing. At 19 it's tough living alone, let alone raising a 15-year-old at the same time. The 5-year-old is better off living with her grandparents or another family member who is more prepared to care for her. It's sad they're trying to pawn her off instead, but ultimately it's not your responsibility to take over for them. Diamond Girl writes, they are entitled, selfish and lazy grandparents who don't want to take responsibility or spend money raising their own blood and biological granddaughter. They don't want this burden in their old age? So they are guilt-tripping and manipulating a young adult who are not related by blood to their granddaughter. That's so selfish and vile. What about aunts and uncles from their mom's side? You are literally a stranger to this kid. If you take on this responsibility you will be in your mid-30s when she's an adult herself and can take care of herself. Your own sister will be an adult in 3 years and then start working and paying her own bills, rent and food. Why should you sacrifice your youth, money and time raising a child that isn't even your half-sibling or related to your parents. This is insane and extremely pathetic of the grandparents to expect and demand this huge sacrifice from you. They need to reach out to other relatives that are related to this child and the child's mother. Do not feel bad. Raising a child as a single parent when you work full-time and have other responsibilities is no joke. Think about yourself first and your mental health. You don't owe these people anything. This child has a biological father that needs to step up. Finally, what is your thought? Leave it in the comments below.